What's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for episode 22 of Stone Ocean. Bro! Bro. This episode was fucking insane, bro. I wish I didn't react to this episode because, my mind was blown watching this episode, man. And holy shit, this episode was amazing, man. Absolutely loved it. Probably one of my favorite episodes of Stone Ocean so far, man. I fucking loved this episode, man. There was so many amazing twists and turns and heartfelt moments. Once again, Araki, man, that man knows how to. This man not only is a master, but he knows how to kill off the camera. Like, I find it funny how Araki did the fake out twice with FF and then just killed her in the same episode. But even still, bro, this is why I also thought it was a fake out with FF because. One, I thought, this could be a fan because it's done her before, but also just because her death didn't really hit me. Like every death in JoJo that we got anime, even if it's not a character I was super into, has always affected me in some way, has always got some sort of reaction out of me. Whether it was Iggy, whether it was Abdul, Narancia, or Moody Jazz. I forget the user from Golden Wind. All of them affected me in one way or another. With FF, I was like, this doesn't really hit. I mean, sure, it's shocking, but it doesn't really, get me in the didn't hit the feel. This one did, man. This one did get me in the feels a little bit, bro. I wasn't crying enough, they're sad, really, but I was shocked. But it was also but I was getting a little bit of the feels. And Araki knows how to kill off characters, man. Like that man knows how to kill off a character, bro. Araki built it for man. And yeah, just a lot of insane shit. Let's just jump right in, boys. So we start the episode off with actually Dio and Father Pucci. Now, they actually cut out the OP from this episode. They just started the episode off. You had the press plane, so obviously there was no OP. And they actually started the episode off with the Mona Lisa. And I'm sure I wasn't the only one that the second the Mona Lisa popped up on screen, you instantly thought of Yoshikage Kira, who you guys know is my favorite JoJo villain, and obviously how he was awakened to his hand fetish by staring at the Mona Lisa, and he only cared about the hands. I wish they actually opened it up with her hands or something, just going full in with the callback to part 4, because I'm pretty sure Dio's is reading the same book that Kira saw when he first saw the Mona Lisa and obviously awoken his hand fetish. I don't know. I think it was the same book. It might have been different books. It's been a minute since I've seen part 4, but that was cool, man. I'm sure that was still a callback regardless of part 4, but I kind of wish it opened with her hands or something, or Dio made some comment about it. Just something with her hands. We'll obviously just go full in with the callback back to part 4. That would have been cool. But anyway, he says there's about there's 40,000 people per day that visit the Venice, the Veni or whatever the museum is called that actually houses the Mona Lisa, as well as this other statue that Kira, this ain't part 4, that Dio is seeing the art book of. And Father Pucci asks him why does he find it so fascinating. It's the numbers, and he just finds it that so many people artists can put their souls into these things, into these things that are basically inanimate objects, almost like they're forever living. But there is something to do with hands in this episode, because that's when Dio grabs Father Pucci's hand and basically asks him why he hasn't tried to betray him, why hasn't he tried to kill him, he knows his weakness, why haven't you done anything, why haven't you tried to kill me or anything? And Father Pucci tells him that that thought has never crossed his mind. And by this point, Dio puts Father Pucci's head inside of his head, and you can see the world's disc pop out a little bit. And that's when he pulls his hand down. He says "Son, I have offended you. I am just not used to someone that can actually make me feel so calm during conversation." And he gives Dio this gift as an apology, which is the bone. At first, I also thought he gave him the world stand disc or something, which to be fair wouldn't make sense because he uses the world throughout the remainder of part 3. So how would he still have his stand if Father Pucci had the disc? But it ends up just being the bone that we have been looking for throughout this entire series. That is what Dio gave him, which also probably would explain why it survived and why it did not go to dust with the rest of Dio, because it was separated from his body. That's probably why it didn't go down with the rest of him. And when JoJo defeated him in the end of part 3. Then we get right back to where we're with FF and her supposed demise. But like I said, it's that's the crazy thing about Araki, man. This man pulled 2 fake outs with FF, one with the electric chair, then this one, and then kills her off in the same episode, and it still hits you, bro. You think you would lose impact because of the fake outs, but nah. Araki still managed. Rocket still managed to hit it off, bro. So, hey, shout out to him anyway. Anyway, after she's like, FF is exploding and everything, and the dust is still and everything. Father Pucci tells Pal Snake to read the data off the disc, but then that's when he hears a walkie-talkie going up. He's like, "Come in, FF. Do you hear? Can you read me, FF?" And obviously they realize what the fuck is going on. Why is there a walkie-talkie? Pale Snake grabs the walkie-talkie and starts screaming at it like, "What is this? Who are you?" And that's when it starts, and that's when the clouds start to form again. The big clouds start to form, and then it starts raining like crazy, and we see the whatever left of FF's plankton start to come together towards the disc, and obviously reviving her body at least enough for her to start crawling away from Pale Snake with the disc in hand. Before more fog also comes in there from weather forecast to obviously to keep her disguised so that she can get away. And as she's running, and as she's like crawling away from him, you can hear like these rocks moving, which Father Pucci eventually notices is Morse code, and he tells him to decipher. Now we never get what it actually deciphers. There never is a scene in this episode where we see if it is indeed what the message FF was sending to weather forecast was. But I'm assuming it was something like, "Hey, I'm alive. I got the disc," or something like that. Either way, we're back with Father Pucci crowning the prime numbers, and says the reason people get defeated is through shame, and shame that's so great that can kill them, and through shame, disgust, and regret, it makes them regret their past actions, causing them to cave in, and obviously get defeated. And somehow Pucci rationalized this, which is obviously a defeat because he didn't see the radio. It's like, I was not defeated because I did not notice the radio. No, this is a challenge. This is a challenge. I must learn from it. Whatever, dude, just take your L, bro. Anyway, we're back with FF, and she eventually meets up with Weather Forecast, who asked them where Jolyne and Anastasia are. So then we're back with Jolyne and Anastasia. And you guys remember where I said that I didn't know for certain if it was an animation error or done on purpose on why Jolyne's jacket just magically disappeared at the end of the last episode? Well, it was an animation error because in this episode, she has it back on. So yeah, obviously it was indeed an animation error. How nobody in Deer Productions didn't notice is like the shoe thing with Shigaraki makes sense because they were probably switching different animators, and it is something so small that you probably could go unnoticed, and there could have just been miscommunication. This was literally like a full minute and a half of the episode at the very end. How did nobody not notice this at Deer Productions? And be like, bro, she's not wearing a jacket. Fix that. But like I said, maybe they were in a super tight schedule with that episode, and they just said, "Fuck it, leave it. We'll fix it in the Blu-rays." I don't know, but yeah, that was definitely an animation error. I don't know how no one didn't notice it. Maybe they did, and it was a time constraint thing. Whatever the case may be, her jacket is suddenly back on. Once again, you have Anastasia hating on Jolyne, being like, "Why have you not noticed? I made my feelings for you so obvious." And then as he's giving the soliloquy, if I can speak, to Jolyne, that's when the baby starts munching on his hair. He's like, "This thing is munching my hair like milk," and just pulls it off his hair before he sits it back down. The baby starts to eat some dirt before it falls right back asleep, and then Anastasia hears something, tells Jolyne to get down, and that's when we see FF has finally met up with Jolyne and Anastasia with, of course, weather forecast in tow. Of course, Jolyne goes over to FF, be like, "Oh, FF, what happens? Are you okay?" He's like, "Don't worry, I just had to ditch the skin," and she finally fixes her eye. And then, of course, her and weather forecast meet. They share an embrace, and bro, Anastasia, this man seething at this, bro. He's seething at the fact that these two are holding an embrace. Bro. You can see in his eyes, bro. This thing was hilarious. And then, of course, he starts screaming at FF, telling them what the hell who the hell they think they are. Tells FF to separate them, bro. And says that he's getting his scent all over her. And he says and then of course they finally break up, and then F is like, see, they broke it off. Stop getting your panties in a bunch. And so after that. And then after that, he starts shit talking FF, saying like, "You're nothing, get away from me, you're nothing but get away from me, plankton." He calls her like plankton throughout the rest of the episode, bro, which I'm sure if this was Weird Weekly, you could probably turn to some sort of SpongeBob memes. But then we get to this scene that has so much meme potential. I am shocked there hasn't been any memes on it. Once again, JoJo fandom, where are my memes, bro? Y'all are slipping with this anime. Y'all are slipping, because he then says that now everyone is back together. We know who We know who Pale Snake is because FL, of course, tells them that Pale Snake is Father Pucci. They're like, okay, cool. We need to kill this creature. Doesn't deserve. Doesn't. If I was up to me, doesn't even deserve to live. It shouldn't even exist. And he asked for Jolyne's consent. Do you know why I say there's a lot of meme potential with this? And because then FF gets in there and be like, oh, are you shit talking me? You should watch what you're saying. He's like, dude, wait. And then he just like, then he kind of pushes her away, like, who cares what you think, Plankton? You know. And then he also asks weather forecast for consent. Like I said, there is so much meme potential with this scene. Where are my memes? Weather forecast also tells him no. He tells him he doesn't give his consent, and that's when he impales Anastasia with his hand, revealing that in fact that weather forecast isn't weather forecast, but rather Pale Snake. When could Pale Snake just shapeshift? I don't know. Maybe he got it from one of the stand discs he had. I'm not sure, but he can shapeshift now, and he turns into weather forecast before then he like hit backhands FF, which like takes off half her head, and then he like punches Jolyne, causing blood starts going everywhere, and then that's of course when he meets up with the baby, like, yes, I have, after 22 years, I finally made it. I have made it to the gateways of heaven. Then Father Pucci steps on Jolyne's dismembered arm after when he punched her, and says he'll cast her into the sweet oblivion of death, and tells her to get up, but she doesn't get up quick enough, and he uses Pale Snake and goes for the attack. Jolyne uses her threads to untether or thread her arm, turning it all into threads, and then connecting and then kind of reattaching it, but connecting them both together and creating handcuffs from her threads, locking them together. And of course they start punching it. They go after each other, doing the auras and everything. Also, the storyboards here looked really fun good, and both Kira and Young Guest performances were both fantastic as they reached the stalemate. Then Father Pucci tries to cut him with his hand, but he ends up only just cutting his hand on the cuffs rather than actually breaking the cuffs because of the threads. And Jolyne tells him, first time in handcuffs? I've been practicing wearing them every day since you put that track into your little scheme. You think these can contain me, do you? What do you think handcuffs are for? They're not for you preventing your escape, criminal. They're for forcing your surrender. Like I mentioned before, I gotta say it again. Kira and Young here were fucking fantastic. And here, man, the performances here were fantastic, man. And I just love these two. This was perfect casting for both Jolyne and Father Pucci. They're just awesome, man. I fucking love these two, man. I've known Adventures countless times, but the dub for JoJo's Adventure has to easily be one of the best ongoing dubs for a series currently airing. Like this and Hero Walker are probably my top two favorite ongoing dubs. Then AOT. AOT's up there pretty well. But I think I would probably still put JoJo and Hero Walker maybe a little bit over AOT. Might switch it up a little bit, but either way, those are my top three, man. All three of them have fantastic dubs. Anyway, Father Pucci says that he can coax that at this point, Father Pucci tells her that he's been able to turn Stone Ocean into a disc. Now, for whatever reason, Jolyne never just tries to push it back in, even though I'm pretty sure we've seen her in this series be able to put the CDs in her head. So I don't know what was stopping her from just pushing the Stone Ocean disc back in. I mean, it's not like she had to take her eyes off Father Pucci, and then she could just go, bam, put it back in, no issues. But whatever the case may be, she never does. And then after they have a stalemate, and we actually and then it like almost kind of reminded me of Western here, where they're just kind of like staring at each other with the handcuffs. The wind is blowing, and Jolyne says to Jolyne that there's only a few millimeters between that she needs of movement for her to finish him off. And then you have just this massive gust of wind behind Father Pucci that like takes half the grass behind him. I don't know who caused this. I don't know if that was Jolyne's stand or that was from Pale Snake, whatever the case may be. Either way, it looked fucking awesome regardless. So Jolyne thrusts her fist towards Father Pucci, while Father Pucci thrusts his hand, and we see that this man somehow managed to fit a cross underneath his fingernail. I don't even know how that's even remotely possible. Whatever the case may be, he manages to graze the disc, causing it to go out of Jolyne's head. But this does not stop Jolyne, but right before Father Pucci can grab it, he punches Father Pucci's arm before going for his midsection, and then hitting him with the auras, keeping Father Pucci on the defensive, like father, like daughter, as they say. Then Father Pucci throws Jotaro's disc and Jolyne asks what he throw. He says that souls are in convenient material form, and that if you throw a disc into the body of a guy that's dying, the disc will die with them. So we find out they threw Jotaro's disc into Anastasia, and he gives Jolyne the ultimatum: do you save Jotaro's disc, or do you continue this pointless death match, as Father Pucci puts it? Eventually, Jolyne just continues wailing on Father Pucci for a bit before he releases the handcuff off him and goes after JoJo's disc. And so Father Pucci starts to approach the baby and gives it the bone, which we see that he pulls out of his hand. So I guess the baby didn't absorb the bone like Jolyne originally thought, and it was just laying around somewhere on the disciplinary center, and Father Pucci just happened to find it. That's what I'm assuming happened. Either way, presents it to the baby, and the baby basically eats it, and it takes most of basically his entire arm with him, because you see all of the flesh of his arm, the hand that he was handing the baby the bone with, is completely gone. You literally only see his bones. It was honestly shockingly graphic. I don't get surprised how graphic it got, considering they invert the colors for the toenail, toenail getting ripped off. Got surprised this didn't get censored out, or maybe that was more of a stylistic thing with that one. To be fair, I don't know. Regardless of it, the baby takes Father Pucci with him as Jolyne rushes to grab the disc, but right as she grabs it, the disc goes inside him. Bro, I had never screamed no at the top of my lungs louder than that in recent memory, bro. No. That, and also what happened with Ayazawa in the latest Hero Walk episode. Those are the last two where I was just screaming no at the top of my lungs like I was an anime character watching my best friend die. Bro, I'm not kidding, bro. Y'all know how much I love Jotaro. He's my favorite Joe star, my favorite character in all of JoJo. And so obviously seeing this and seeing the possibility of him dying, bro, this got my heart beating. This got my heart running, racing, bro. This had my heart racing. She tries to fix Anastasia by stitching up the wounds, but obviously the dude's on death door, so that's not really gonna do much of anything. So then we get some voiceover from Anastasia, basically saying that he gives his body to FF and to let her fix him, and of course get the discount and everything. And then we eventually see what we thought originally was Anastasia's spirit leave his body, but was actually FF. And then of course FF with by the way, like I said, the OST in this part of the episode. Oh my god. Fantastic. I don't know what song this was. I don't know if this is from the Part 6 OST or this was from the OST from an older JoJo part. Either way, man, I fucking love the song that was playing here as FF gives her whole death soliloquy like every JoJo character does when they die, where she more or less just says that she was worried about when she dies about not being able to say goodbye to her friends. She said goodbye to her friends as Kira's crying her heart out, saying like, "Oh, I'll get the CD back. I'll bring you back to life." But it's like, "But that'll be different FF." Blah 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 blah. Y'all already watched the episode. Y'all know her whole soliloquy. She ends up finally going into the afterlife, as we hear on the radio once again, weather report being like, "FF, come in, what FF?" And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where the episode ends. Phenomenal episode, man. Absolute banger, man. Like I said before, this might be my favorite episode of Part 6 up to this point. I absolutely love this episode. The voice acting for the dubcast was phenomenal. OST was great. Art and animation was great. Everything about this episode was fantastic. So, overall, my thought rating for this episode is going to be a 10 out of fucking 10, ladies and gentlemen. As always, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, if you like it. Links down in the box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.